because they went into Indiana today and they beat the Hoosiers in Assembly Hall in a place where Indiana had one loss on the season coming into today. They ran him off the floor in the second half. Trent Frazier was awesome. Alfonso Plummer was making everything. And Kofi didn't even play that well for him. So, T.O., I'm going to put it to you. How good is this Illinois team? What is their ceiling? And where do you see them going from here?
I mean, their Final Four good. It's just a matter of if Kofi's going to get the right matchups. I mean, you saw what happened last year against Loyola Chicago. That's the reason I said I think Michigan State can make a run if we're looking at a team from the Big Ten, because I think Bingham Jr. can get out and guard some of those guys. I think matchups are going to be huge this year in the NCAA tournament because there's so many good teams. Matchups are really going to matter.
All right, so walk us through what a bad matchup for Illinois would be in your mind.
Well, I mean, look at what Cameron Krutwig did to him. A skilled guy who can step out a little bit, who's going to force him to come out on the perimeter, who can also guard him a little bit. Now, don't ask me who that man's going to be, but I mean, it's possible that guys that can pull him out, then you take away what he's best at, right? But this Illinois team can shoot the ball so well. I think that goes without saying. I mean, Plummer's come along, didn't have a great game today, but he's provided a spark of offense big time. And Trent Frazier's been Mr. Reliable. I love the way he's been playing. Now, Curbelo, lightning rod, still needs to come off the bench. I've said it since the beginning of the year. I think he's more JJ Barea than Jason Kidd. He's somebody that can give you some energy off the bench. So I worry about him playing elongated minutes. But Trent Frazier's been so stable, you don't necessarily need him to. I love the way this Illinois team's playing right now, and Tuesday is going to matter a lot.
I know you're probably going to end up saying the same thing that I'm about to say, Jeff, but I think that Illinois is better without without Andre Curbelo on the floor. I think I said this back in like November when he was first sitting out and Trent Frazier was really getting going. It gets you more shooters. It gets you somebody that's a little bit tougher. You're not going to have a defensive liability or a shooting liability, and you still are able to get DeMonte Williams and Jacob Granderson on the floor with Trent and Alfonso Plummer around Kofi. I think they're better without Curbelo.
You know why? Because Trent is just solid. He makes good, solid decisions. It's not dribble. Other guys either standing around watching him dribble, into the paint, knowing he's not going to be able to finish around the basket either. So then he kind of dribbles, all the way from one side to the other side of the court. Guys almost don't know what to do when he's doing that. It's like watching pickup basketball or at the park or something. They don't know. He's freelancing so much. Frazier, it's clear what he wants to do, right? He goes over to the left side and he feeds Kofi the ball where he needs it, deep in the paint, and he can score. He uses angles. And again, going back to what you said, Tio, if you look through some of the teams, Kofi's not going to get a matchup like Oscar.
That's true.
Drew Timme, Baylor's bigs, Kansas's big, Purdue's bigs. Like there aren't that many dudes that can really expose him like Cameron Krutwig could.
Yeah, but Cameron Krutwig didn't play at any of these Power 5 schools or Power 6 schools. Excuse me.
Right. So
Power
you're
6.
saying you're saying first and second round.
Well, what I will say is this: I do think that Kofi's gotten better playing drop.
He
coverage.
has.
I think that he's gotten better at that end. And also, the one guy, the team that probably could expose it is Gonzaga. But, you know what's going to happen if Chet Holmgren tries to guard Kofi Coburn?
You'd have to put Timme on him. You'd have to.
I don't even think Timme would be able to deal with him, man. Timme is a huge human being, and he would be giving up 60 pounds to Kofi Coburn.
I know.
He's such a monster.
Can I make a point? Can I make a point about Curbelo real quick? If you look at some of the games like today, Auburn at Georgia, where things just aren't going right and guys aren't making shots and you're having a hard time moving the basketball, that's where he provides value. Not for 40 minutes, but as a spurt of somebody who can create something quick. So
great off
he's
the bench.
great off the bench. That's why I keep making this Barea comparison. You can't have him out there 40 minutes, 48 minutes in the NBA or whatever. But when things are stacked,
you know what it's like? You know what it's like, guys? It's the same thing that we were kind of talking about with Jeremy Roach versus Trevor Keels, where
that's right.
You want to be able to have it's a change of pace guy coming off the bench. When I've made the comparison before to running backs, your first and second down back is the guy that's going to get you 3, 4, 5 yards when you put the ball in his belly. He's going to get you 3, 4, 5 yards. You're going to get something positive out of it. But you want that third down back, the guy that if you get him in space, can go make a play because it's a little bit more of a roll of the dice. It's a little bit more risky, and I think that that's what Curbelo needs to be. Trent, it's got to be Trent Frazier because he could shoot it and he could defend. And you need those two things when you're dealing with.
And he can pass it. He can run the team.
All right. I want to talk a little bit about Illinois against Purdue because Purdue today, I thought played one of their best all-around games. You know, Trevion Williams had it going. Zach Edey had it going. Jaden Ivey was absolutely electric when he was getting downhill. They were hitting threes. I think we really saw kind of Purdue come together. And granted, this is a really good matchup for him, T.O. But where do you? I do feel like Purdue is a little bit of a team that you can be hot or cold on at this point, because I don't know if I trust their backcourt. I don't know if I trust them defensively, but when they get going, man, they are so much fun to watch. They are so dangerous.
They're still the number one offense in the country, according to Kim Palm, and they've won 5 in a row. I mean, they just have so many weapons. People that are hot or cold on them are people that are worried about their defense. And it's plausible because they can be slow-footed. And you know, there's only one Jaden Ivey out there. Now, I will say that's the big difference between this Purdue team and last year's Iowa team, who was fantastic on offense, and then on defense it was like, Purdue has high-level athletes to where I didn't think that Iowa had that last year. I think that's the big difference there.
But Ivy off the ball.
I can't sit here and let you slander Luka Garza's name like that.
No, but he's not a good athlete. I mean, he's lost a ton of weight in the NBA.
He was an elite athlete. He was an elite athlete.
Looked like an elite beer drinker. He wasn't an
my
elite
big
athlete.
thing. Listen, my big thing, guys, if you watch Ivy, like, he's so good on the ball, but then off the ball, if you watch him even today, there was a possession late where he was just standing there. Like, he had no idea. And he should be really good defensively. Like, that to me could take them to a level where at least you feel better about them defensively. You know, again, you've got Edey. He doesn't move well. Trevion does the best he can on the perimeter, but he's limited.
I think
Trevion's
solid.
I mean, the more I watch Purdue,
a huge red flag to me was, Jeff, when they played Wisconsin at home and Johnny Davis is going nuts. Jaden Ivey should be the guy that should go over there and shut that water off.
Yes. Yep. And he didn't.
I love that.
He didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that's a little bit of a red flag for Purdue. You know what else is a red flag? When you allow Xavier Johnson and Rob Finney, who I love because, you know, he's been there for 5 years. I love the moment that he got against Purdue. But when you let those two get 40 points on you in your backcourt,
and open looks late.
Yeah,
Finney had like 2. He had the game tire, the game winner. But the one before that, he was wide open and he had gone nuts all game. So yeah, their perimeter defense is. I mean, their overall defense scares me. It does.
Yep. Me too. All right. Michigan State lost at Rutgers. We got about 3 minutes. You guys got anything to say about this? I just think that Rutgers is such a different team when they're playing in the rack. It's hard for me to kind of judge them too much. But I mean, I don't see it with Michigan State.
It's hard. They have matchup issues all over the place, but Ron Harper Jr. is pretty good. And Mulcahy is pretty good. Like, those two players in particular, they're good players, and they're much better at home. That's a tough environment. It's hard to take too much away from it. I think Michigan State still has players. They have length around the wings, and they can win games in the tournament. I do think there's matchup issues some games, though.
Yeah, I think the Spartans are they're a Sweet 16 caliber team.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if they go further than that.
I think that they're. I think the Izzo factor. Yeah, I think that they're primed for an upset. I think that there's a bunch of teams in college basketball this year that feel like they are kind of surviving because they are exceptionally well coached and have a bunch of kids that are just tough and old and it just feels like Michigan State.
You still got to find 16 teams that get to the Sweet 16. Just say
I think there's lots of teams that can get to the Sweet 16. By the way, speaking of teams that can get to the Sweet 16, UCLA and Arizona State are now tied at 58 with 2 minutes left. And Tiger Campbell in and out.
Bobby's going to lose it. Hey, Bobby will lose it. If he loses this game, the best thing, we'll talk about this in the After Darks as well, why Bobby Hurley puts his hands behind his back when he gets upset with the refs.
I want to hear that. How about Rutgers out rebounding them by 11?
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
That's very atypical. That's a big thing too.
Izzo was definitely not happy.
Yeah, they're tough.
All right, guys, we got about 45 seconds here, but really quick, I feel like we should do this as a sign off every day that we do or every time we do a show together. Who as of today, Jeff? Who's your player of the year as of today?
I don't know. I mean, I might as well throw those 10 names in a hat and pick one out. I'm going to stick with Johnny Davis. I just feel like still you take him off that Wisconsin team. They're a CBI team.
Yep. I agree. All right, T.O., who you got? Gun to head.
I'm going Johnny Davis too. The record with him versus the record without him is just light years away. It's not even close.